Hello again. This is Joe. Just wanted to make another quick video, share a quick thought I had. I think it's very important that artists draw their dreams. I know many artists probably already do this, but I've just encountered many situations for myself where, I'll wake up and I will remember, like, immediately, with detail, things from my dream that I have had, and I think I'm going to remember it, and I like wait all day, and I get home and I try to draw it, and it just doesn't turn out exactly how I had it in my dream, and it's very frustrating when you have like cool ideas that are attached to very emotional experiences that are within the dream. And I feel like, if I was given an opportunity to just, wake up right away and just draw it, rather than having to go and do something first, it would be so much better and so much clearer. And, actually putting that in practice has revealed to me, I mean, not even just recently, just, throughout my whole life trying to draw my dreams, it never will be exactly like it is in your head when you have it and in your dream. But regardless of that, I encourage everyone to just do it anyway, even if they had experiences with drawing their dreams and being disappointed with the outcome and having it not represent, what they've seen. I still think it's very good to do that, just to like solidify ideas and things that you've experienced, because of the fact that it was something that you maybe even initially felt was real, as fantastical or bizarre as they might be. It's very useful to try to capture, even as just a challenge, to try to capture what it is that you've seen, due to the fact that sometimes you're given really random things. Like sometimes you'll have reflections of your own anxieties, which is usually what I'll have. But, rare occasions will occur where you'll have like these crazy settings and characters that you can kind of recognize from media that you've absorbed throughout your time, being alive. And other times it'll be just completely wacky, out there designs and like situations and plots. So like writing them down in a notebook or like your laptop if you have it nearby, or just having like a little sketch pad with you, find time throughout your busy day to just like jot it down as best you can while it's fresh. I know Salvador Dali is like the greatest example I can think of when it comes to an artist who was obsessed to a degree when it came to like, or at least I think, like, I don't know exactly what his deal was, but I know that he drew painted his dreams like pretty much right away. Like he would wake himself up and draw his dreams, and of course the ones I'm thinking of are like the melted pancake clocks or something. But obviously with things that I've had, I'll draw like characters or settings that I've had in my dreams. Some of them are, pretty weird and disturbing. I remember one of the earliest dreams that inspired a setting was like back in like 2011, where it was like this nightmare. I mean, it was definitely a nightmare, but because it bothered me so much and I couldn't forget about it, I tried to like recycle it into a like story that I actually committed to for a little bit. I even have like drawings of characters and a vague plot, but it was basically just like me and my brother, one of my brothers, playing outside with our dog, and all of a sudden this like weird anthropomorphic dragon just flies in and like crash lands into our backyard. And like my brother had the unfortunate circumstance of being closer to it, and it impaled him with its like tri-forked tail spike, and I was convinced that he was dead immediately, so I just ran inside. But before running inside, I saw this ghostly child with red glowing eyes, and he was just completely white, like a ghost. And I ran inside past him as the dragon was like, I don't know what he was doing, but he killed my brother on the spot, and I had no time to react. And I ran inside and I went to go get my parents, and they were sleeping, and then when I tried to wake them up, they disintegrated into ash. And then like the ceiling was ripped off by the dragon, and I woke up because it was just too much for me to handle. And it was just the most horrifying experience in the moment. But like I said, because it was so impactful, I couldn't let it go, and I tried to basically cope with it by like turning it into a story, so I had like control over it. And it helped a little bit, and it was actually a really cool idea that was I was able to build off of it and just start, trying to see where it could go. I eventually got bored with it and moved on as I experienced other interests in media. I kind of just didn't like the supernatural vibe anymore, and I started getting more into like science fiction, like with Star Wars and Mass Effect like that, which also I had a dream I remember that inspired that universe too, that I also have not touched in a long time, probably out of embarrassment for the crappy writing associated with it at the time. But I would urge everyone to make sure that they not just draw their dreams, but like their stories that were inspired by those dreams should be explored, even if they are like outdated as far as like your maturity at the time of their creation, because you can always redraw them and revisit it, and just not even just for nostalgia too, just feels like a learning process of seeing seeing what you did with them versus what you could do with them later. I'm sure you can think of a lot of characters and stories that you made when you were younger, or that you also had as a result of a dream. A lot of my favorite worlds right now are definitely the result of a out of the blue, just crazy detailed, awesome dream. My Nightmaid's universe is definitely one of them. I had this very elaborate experience where I was in this dark industrial like steampunk world that was so hard to like draw with my current skill level. I had this dream years ago now, but I'm so glad I had it, because it's still a world that I'm working on and exploring and writing actually at this moment too, the main story for. But at the time, it was so hard to draw, and still is, it's so hard to draw exactly what you were seeing in the dream. But it didn't stop me from trying, and I'm glad I did, because I kept with it, and it's still something that I have really enjoyed exploring and building upon. So yes, I think it's a very good idea to do your best to draw your dreams as soon as you can. Like, you wake up, and I don't care if it's really quick, like really make sure that you're able to, even just roughly get the idea across. I even had a recent dream where I had this, where I was playing this cool horror pixel art style video game, where you're playing as like, anime students as they're trying to unravel a supernatural mystery, and they're getting attacked by like these spirits. And I remember it being very difficult. Like, it was a very scary and challenging game that just felt like BS. But I could feel in my dream, like my consciousness at the time of interpreting events as they transpired, I could back out anytime I wanted, like if it got too scary, if it got too stressful. But because it was so interesting, I just stayed and just dealt with the frustration of it. And it was likely because I was playing like a Dark Souls game like the night before, and those games really test your mettle and your patience, and despite them being so grueling, there's something really rewarding about like just toughing it out and overcoming whatever challenge is vexing you. Which is kind of what it is like to try and draw a dream in the first place, because it's so challenging, taking the vague shapes and experiences of your sleeping mind and reformat them into a conscious attempt. Um, it's just I don't know, it's just a really cool experience being able to do that, and I urge everyone to do it because I've had moments where I've just like had dreams that I wanted to draw and I never even attempted it, and I was just missing out on what could have been built into a really good idea and a really good story. So that's what I'm going to be doing now, just not just giving up before I even try, because you never know what could come of it, and I know the other artists probably experienced that too, so please do your best to draw your dreams. Like, obviously if they're like, really traumatic and they are from a part of your past where it's just really difficult to approach, don't draw them. Don't do your best to not do that. Don't draw every dream. Just the ones that you think are really rad. I think that's all I got for today. You have a good one. Yeah, have fun drawing your dreams.